Uh, I have a very provocative mindset today, so uh, better be warned. Uh, I have been thinking with this festive season on and people praying and so many people bringing Lord Ganesha in their homes. There is a lot of festivity, there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of looking forward to. And I have been thinking about my practice and what do I seek from my practice. And so, this word enlightenment is very heavy, mukti is very heavy, and sometimes it scares the hell out of me thinking that, oh, uh, if ever that stage comes, I won't be here to enjoy it because there will be no me, that's the point. And there is no context like that ever in my head about anything else except for this one fact that this will happen. Perhaps death is very close, but luckily, life experiences have given me some food for thought as far as death is concerned, so I keep looking at it regularly from different perspectives. So, my question is not about enlightenment really, but if I don't want to get enlightened, why should I live a wholesome life and why should I stop my unwholesome habits? Considering the fact that they are easier to maintain, I don't have to think so much, there is no restraint. Uh, so, these are thoughts running in my head about the topic uh, right now. What is the need for wholesome living when one is not seeking enlightenment?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think
Sorry. Welcome to the Values
uh,
Workshop podcast, Uday, and I am so glad that we finally got around to matching our timings and getting here. Please share your thoughts.
I think
Can you speak
enlightenment
up a
is
little?
something. Yeah, I think enlightenment is something we shouldn't take too seriously when we are thinking of a wholesome life.
Yeah, please speak a little louder. I think I can barely hear you.
Yeah, like I said, enlightenment is something that maybe we shouldn't take too seriously when we are thinking of living a wholesome life or living with good habits. Uh, for the most part, enlightenment has come from spiritual gurus or leaders or religious texts. Uh, and for a person who is dealing with daily life, with the struggles, with the hopes, aspirations, disappointments, enlightenment feels too far away. It's something that's not achievable in a daily life. Uh, However, we do realize that as we go through life, that the same sequence of highs and lows keep happening. Uh, Even if we've had a reasonably smooth life, there are certain things we wish they didn't happen, or they happened a little different way. And somewhere we come to the realization that everybody's story is a little different, but there is some common thread that goes through all of them. And
Yeah, louder, please.
yeah, so I think that when we want to uh, live life happily without looking back with regrets, or we live life in such a way that tomorrow we don't have to pay a heavy price for something we've done today. It could be as simple as the food you eat, or lack of exercise, or you know lack of control on your financial habits. All of these things eventually take a toll on you, right? Uh, and so when you come to a place where you realize, okay, do I really need all this excitement? Do I really need all this chaos in my life? uh, which which gives its own sort of highs and a kick about fame and fortune and everything. You really want little more stability and peace. And so you're saying, okay, can I at least cut? So that's how we most people start. Can I cut down those extreme habits which are causing me distress? And then you come down towards a more reasonable middle ground. Okay, maybe I'll not party every day. I'll party on the weekend, and then maybe not every weekend, once a month. and I'll spend maybe once a year or twice a year on something, but not uh, every alternate day or every week, and then worry about keeping up with the neighbors or the relatives or society. I think for that, you still need to have a wholesome habits just to maintain that balance in your mind going forward. That when you're a
Hmm.
teenager, the excitement is really nice, but when you're in your 30s or 40s, it wears off, right? Why does it wear off? Have you ever thought about it? The same things that gave you so much of you know high, why does it wear off after a certain time?
Um, there was an underlying and context to the answer that you was giving. There is always the social thing to be up to. So the family demands some uh, good quality of life. There is the friends who are happening, who have good jobs, who've reached a point where you are looking at them and thinking, oh, I also think with my experience and with my learning, I should be having that kind of thing. Uh, there are pressures that are set in the future. Of course, one should not think about the future in an absolute sure sense. But there is the impending, oh, these are things that I will need to take care of. I will need to have a good quote unquote roti kapda makan for the next 30 years. Uh, these are genuine concerns. I'm saying uh, partying also has its own fun, but it costs money and the cost of living going up. Uh, do you not think that indulging in this way of thought that you mentioned might be detrimental to my ambition to be even to stay afloat, perhaps in a good way? I'm not saying basics can't be met, but sometimes basics. Just today, sometime back, I had gone, and tomorrow being Saturday, I was ordering some vegetables. Day after being Saturday, I was ordering some vegetables that I'll need tomorrow, and the cost was pretty high, and one cannot be spending time um, calming oneself down when there is fire already running in different directions. How do you look at it uh, in a way, because you've been trying to you know, uh, live in a wholesome manner while still managing your householder responsibilities? Please speak up a little because I can barely hear you after a little couple of words.
Yeah, I think that there are two ways of actually looking at things, and this is something I was reading today. And one is the way where we look at things with anxiety or a fear of scarcity or a lack, and that's where we always generally get mm, bogged down into. It's like, okay, maybe the vegetables become really expensive, everything is going to go out of hand, and I may not be able to earn as much as uh, the costs of living are going up, right? And that generally pulls a person down.
Okay.
It generally pulls a person down. You've not even started doing anything to address the issue, but mentally you're already down. You're gone down a path where you're not opening up much possibilities for yourself.
Okay.
And the other way of looking at it is, okay, costs are going up. Now, what else can I do so that I can increase my income or change the way I look at what I can bring in, and where have I restricted myself? And that gives you a little more opportunity to look at the possibilities of life. And if you look in any instant in time from your childhood to now, there were people who were making good money even before liberalization. even during depression, even during recessions, there are people who are making money. And even now, as we speak, there's somebody who is going out in Mumbai and hustling, and he's making good money every day, doing something that's very non-glamorous. It could be selling pani puri or, mm,
Uh,
you know, I don't know what they're doing out there, which seems very non-glamorous, but is very, lucrative or makes them money. So there are, I just feel at any point in time there are these two ways of looking at things. One is we get bogged down by anxiety and fear. The other is we actually explore our options and widen our horizons. And I think if you were to tie it back to enlightenment, I think that is the enlightenment which one goes through in life, is that we have made those boundaries around ourselves.
uh,
The society's expectations are also boundaries we kept on ourselves. And that has pushed us into a corner and made us feel we can do only this because this is acceptable or respectable or whatever. And uh, and once you realize that this is all just a creation of me and myself and the people around me, it doesn't matter anymore. So I think that is something, and that also is not an easy realization because you have to overcome your ego, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
I have a question coming there.
yeah.
Not the ego really, but I was feeling, are we, you did preempt the question a bit by the last part of your answer, but isn't enlightenment sacred ground? How are we bringing in livelihood and real time small issues? I would think there is a halo around that word, and all the saints we see do have a halo around their heads and everything. So, how are you really bringing it down to managing inflation and finding new ways? What is enlightenment there? Could you go deeper there and explain whether you have a point of view or are you wrong? Is my question, because where is the aura of enlightenment, or what is it?
So if we look at more spiritual definitions of enlightenment, there the ego dissolves,
Okay,
and and the person uh, doesn't have that strong sense of self anymore. Now, let us say it's a 1,000-mile journey to that destination of enlightenment. But today, if you had to go and do some job outside, which you would normally not do because of your social status or education or upbringing, that puts you in a place where you have to accept a certain loss of face or loss of social standing, and and there you realize that, hey, it is nothing but ego. The guy standing next to me can also write a jingle for an ad. I am also writing a jingle for an ad. What is so great about me, or what is so demeaning about him? Right? If I have to cook food and deliver to a few households, uh, why is that as not as respectable as the Swiggy driver who does it? Right?
okay,
So in these livelihood questions, in every country and not only ours, those who actually are willing to swallow their pride and do whatever is required, mm, they're actually spiritually much more evolved than a person who earns a good living but is stuck to that status and salary and company and brand. Because without that, his entire identity is gone, isn't it?
okay. I'll go into one other provocative part of the territory. So let's keep enlightenment on the side for a bit. And what is wrong with drinking a bit sometimes, or having a bit of non-vegetarian, uh, or indulging oneself in parties of some kind, uh, which are not causing any harm to anybody else? If one is having fun, how is that unwholesome?
See, if you're not causing harm to anyone else, at least that's one step forward. There's nothing wrong in that. Uh, the issue is, are you causing harm to yourself? And that is a very mm, tricky thing to understand when you're in the act, right? So when you're in your teenage years or your 20s and you get drunk and you're sloshed, you can probably recover much faster the next day. You still show up to work and be productive. Maybe your liver doesn't get as damaged. But you do that over a period of time, right? Then the effects start taking over. So it's one of those things that you don't know where it starts and where it leads if pursued in the long run. Most people don't pursue it in the long run. They generally stop after a couple of years and they move into another phase of life, another peer group. But if you had to continue to do that, I think you're harming yourself more than anybody else. And then later on, as your circle of people who depend on you increases, then they get affected as well. So
In fact, one of the nuances that came to me while you started your answer was during the time when I had friends who used to go out for a drink and we used to sit together, and one of the things I had realized is there was a lot of wrong ways of speaking about people, about ourselves, about the situation. Uh, Not only swear words, just the intent, and this was like suddenly one is very free and one can say whatever one wants under the guise of being drunk or uh, letting go of social uh, decency at times. I remember a lot of things, also frequenting a lot of places which were not uh, the kinds that I would normally ever go to, but because on that particular day all the friends were going and we ended up there, and a lot of indecent way of thinking, acting, doing, talking, all of those things were happening. So while you are mentioning the long term impact, I in the short term also I realized there were days when one came back home very unhappy, but one didn't realize because this whole hurrah of oh, this was a wonderful party and we were dancing and whatever were the good parts, one focuses on that and says that other guy is an idiot. He speaks like this. Oh, it's okay. He always gets drunk and does this, and one tends to forget that one is part of that company. One is indulging them and oneself. So yeah, that is a nuance that just came to me while you were answering. Uh, Another thing that I want to ask you is why seek enlightenment at all? Where is the bondage? What is happening? And so you did mention one part of your answer in the earlier answer was that we all realize that we aren't that young anymore, or things are happening to us and somebody else is making more money. But that is often seen as, oh, I am not good enough. I don't know how to do this. It is my failure to comprehend the situation, or I lack some kind of vital understanding that will help me be a success in this area, whatever I choose to be looking at. So how do you explain that? And I genuinely mean this is the thought that you think you are not good enough. You don't think or you think the other guy is lucky and he knows the things, and he or she, whoever, obviously, they have cracked it. Yeah, that's the word that one uses in one's mind. How do you look at that? I'm saying while we are talking enlightenment and this whole thing is about wholesome and unwholesome, but these are real time issues that one faces. Having textbook ideas about how one should read and reach one's goal, isn't it a little too impractical?
I think let's take that first observation you made, that maybe that guy knows how to do it and I couldn't, or in this sphere of activity I am not good enough, or uh, my my statement or answer to that would be yes, maybe you're not good enough, but uh, can you accept that?
Okay.
Can you accept that and be happy? In the sense, I'll give you an example of a cricketer, and you all probably know him very well, Vinod Kambli. There are many cricketers who didn't succeed along with him. We don't even know their names, right? And Vinod Kambli could at least get some success. He made some good runs and he has some records to his name. But once he was not in the reckoning for the Indian team anymore, slowly his life deteriorated. And
Okay.
today, if you look at him, I'm sure there are many unsuccessful cricketers out there who are leading perfectly normal lives, right? When I say perfectly normal life, they just go earn a living, they come back to their family, and they're healthy and they're able to manage life with all the struggles like anybody else does. But something probably calmly is struggling. So this is something that we all have to understand is wherever we are, even if we are incapable of succeeding in that field to the level we think we could have with the right smarts or the right moves, today where we are, we need to accept that completely without any regret, without any anger, without any sadness that this is where I am. And maybe this other guy who made the right moves is become the CEO or the award-winning uh, writer or actor or whatever. But here I am. This is where I am. And from here, what can I do and how much effort can I make to continue my life? If you can
I
do that,
I have a
even in your
question here.
situation, you'll be at
If,
least reasonably happy.
sorry,
Yes.
I have a question at this point. What is there to be happy
Yes.
about when I am not getting what I want?
No, no, you probably won't be getting what you want. At this point in time, if you are starting off your career and you are 22, 23, uh, and you realize I could be CEO by 35 or 38, and now you've reached your 40s and you're not anywhere near. So it's
Okay.
pretty clear to you that you won't be anywhere there. So I'm saying at that point in time in life where you realize that for whatever reason, your family situation, personal weaknesses, or whatever reason, or economy not taking off at the right time, you can't make it there anymore. So can you accept your current situation in life and say, okay, bye, this is who I am now, and this is what I find myself in, and can I live with that with a reasonable degree of happiness and satisfaction? Now it's very difficult. For me, it's been very difficult. There have been days where I've been extremely angry with myself, extremely sad, extremely depressed. And I'm realizing that a lot of it comes back to again that same point that you mentioned that somewhere I didn't do the right things, I didn't make the right decisions. And then the way I came out of it also was again to realize that this is where I am and I have to be happy with this. I can change something if I want to, if I can. But even before I change it, I have to be happy with the situation I am in today. Because without that happiness and peace, I won't be able to do anything further with a full heart and mind. I'll probably do it out of compulsion or necessity. But the joy will never come if I am not happy with where I am and peaceful with where I am. So
So acceptance is one level of happiness that may allow you to look at things in a balanced manner.
yes, yes,
Okay. Is acceptance important part of seeking enlightenment?
yes. I think it is. I think it is
So basically, you're
because
saying accept the facticity or the truth of the moment before you reach any kind of ultimate truth at any point.
yes,
Because
because
you
at this
need,
point in time, this is the ultimate truth.
okay. Oh, this is the ultimate.
At this point in time, this is the ultimate truth for you.
The
That
series,
if
so it is a series of ultimate truths till you reach the ultimate truth, whatever that might be.
whatever that might be, yes. And if at this moment you're living in a world of delusion and you're living in this make-believe world of I am something, I want to be something, I will become something, then you're not with the reality as is today.
Why is it a delusion? It's just a thought that I have about how I'm going to pursue it.
No, pursuing it is different. Pursuing it is very different. Pursuing it is fine. The issue starts off with what do you think you're worth, और मैं कौन हूँ, अरे मैं क्या जाके सड़क में पानी पूरी बेचूंगा, right? That is the delusion there. If you want to become, Bikaner Bhujiawala or Haldiram, a multimillionaire, no problem. But the process is what
Hard
he
work.
has, whatever he has pursued, now whatever amount of effort he has put in. And I feel it's very important for everyone to get out of that comfort zone they've stuck in life and try something else and see how easy it is to be humiliated, how easy it is to be wronged, because you have a strong image about yourself, and you need to break it on your own. In spiritual circles, they used to do that. Like they probably still do in the right places where they make you do all sorts of work just to see that, just to show you that you're nothing special here. Once you come in, you leave all your outside baggage there, and you come in and you know, uh, clean the toilets or do the gardening work. Or like I think in a Gurudwara, they take out the slippers and put them in the rack.
Yeah.
That is your first step towards enlightenment. If you can't pass that first step, then the next is not going to happen. So,
Uh, so, are you saying one has to go with an open mind towards anything that life brings up at any point of time, and that in a way will help you balance your thoughts? Then you will take probably the right steps, whatever are possible. I'm saying while you were talking, I know of somebody who's been wanting to do sell street food, but his family support is not happening because how can you do something like this? Is on, and I can understand. And but the point also is that there is a certain amount of investment required. So there is still that part also that needs to be covered up. Uh, is there a sense of uh, living with truth and that is of utmost importance, and how do we recognize that we are not uh, impeding our growth in understanding the truth? Because if I understand correctly my own journey, if I were to look back, uh, the first steps uh, after my first course of Vipassana was that I do not like the course, it is too pure. It is too right, it goes on the right track, but I don't want to do this. I was far more younger and I want this and I want that and I want this and I want that. Uh, it's only that every time I had a setback and I relooked, I found there was only one place in the world which wasn't judging me, which was allowing me to see the truth for whatever it was worth. I am not even saying that I understood everything that was being said or was able to follow in my everyday life. But there was this absolute assurance that if you wanted to try, so now this is not about selling the idea of Vipassana, but I'm saying here is a place where these things are possible. So any place that you choose where you are going to accept truths about yourself, uh, and the first truths that you learn to accept are always unpalatable. They are definitely not enjoyable. Later on, you become used to it. So, how do you see this journey of how does one walk with truth in a world that does not really support these things, uh, or rather, uh, initial part would be don't be impractical. Don't be a Harishchandra is something that one has heard. Just do it. And I remember when we were kids, there was this standing joke so often that would happen is we had the landline and some of us had the landline, and then you picked up the phone and then you decided whether to say yes or no that this person was there or not. This happened quite a lot, and even with the mobile phone, initially I remember couple of conversations overhearing them in the train where the guy is saying, "Oh, I have just reached this station," and he is nowhere close to that station, and you are, you know, it's not happening. But so my question to you: how does truth as a immediate goal, how does this journey towards it begin? Because it is scary. It will put you under a lot of stress, and there is a lot of fear of facing it. So if you've given me some work to do and I have not done it, and I've been promising you, and now the call has come, how am I going to tell you to look? I had forgotten it, or I was I had gone for a movie or something, and I haven't done it. So my question to you is, what gives you or anybody who's seeking the strength to start looking at these things more? Money you own up, which otherwise doesn't happen.
Yes, I think first is when you have an open mind, like you said, we should go into situations with an open mind. That would be a big step forward. So I'm not assuming that just because I have not done the job and I'm getting the call from the client, I shouldn't assume that he is going to uh, get angry at me or he's going to cut off all future contracts or whatever, right? So
Okay.
the lot of these assumptions, even when you deal with your parents or friends or children, we censor ourselves into modes of behavior which we think are required. Otherwise, the relationship cannot be maintained. Uh, on the other hand, if you actually approach things with honesty, there will be friction, but people will always come back to you when they feel they need an honest person's advice or perspective on it, because they know that you won't be, you know, sugarcoating things or saying things which are not true. Whether society supports the truth or not, I think mm, you should just go ahead and do what is required at that point in time. Um, Even people who have been completely dishonest all through their life, they've also ended up not in great places in life. So it's not as if you're truthful, you are suffering more than a person who's untruthful. Uh, I think that again, those are all lots of fears we put ourselves into, and I don't think we need to live with that fear. Now, I felt if you're just truthful and honest, people will try to take advantage of you uh, because they feel they're being smarter. But every person who has taken advantage or has behaved badly, deep inside knows that they're also doing something wrong. And for one wrong, they have to do another wrong to cover it up. And I think that's not something that a person who is honest or truthful has to keep doing it. They can, and this is something we've heard since we were children, that you say one lie and then you have to say 100 lies to cover up that one lie. I think that is always there. And I don't think any of us are in such a critical position in life where our lies are going to save humanity, right? We have totally insignificant lives, and I think for such an insignificant life, we don't need to lie and cheat people or do whatever it is. So
What I like about your answers is demystifying what is otherwise a very scary and unapproachable subject uh, of an enlightenment, where you think, oh, I will break through and attain a state of peace that will never go away, or something, whatever those descriptions are. These are more relatable, these are things that I can try, fail, and succeed, and figure out my balance. And what's your personal is there a goal? Is what does there have to be a goal to seeking? Uh, how does it work for you? How do you engage with that subject? Because having said whatever you're saying, there are difficulties that arise, and one doesn't really compare difficulties with those wrongdoers and say, "Arey, they are also suffering." I don't think that enters our mind. It's always about why am I suffering and how do I get out of it, and how do I find something that will nullify the event or the angst that I'm feeling, uh, or bring me some kind of peace in a situation. The death of something, the death of an idea, the death of some concept, something being rejected, uh, or somebody blaming me for something that I've done or not done. Uh, in my head, I'm always right. Whatever I've been doing, I justify it in some manner. So during the time that it is happening, what do you seek? How do you become a better person? How do you become a more honest person from a point of, so there are, obviously there are stories like Angulimal or the guy who wrote, the dacoit who wrote Ramayana, uh, but those seem like mythical figures. How do you, in your personal life, you said you were angry when certain things didn't fall, the chips didn't fall the way you wanted them to, and things were happening in a manner which were unacceptable to you at that point of time. What did you do, or how do you console yourself, find solace? So, how does that work for you?
So, on a personal level, I think the couple of things I've been focusing in the past few years. One thing I've realized is that there is definitely a lot of value in doing things uh, that actually make you dissolve your ego, do work which initially you felt uncomfortable with, or people find not very respectable, or you know things like that. So constantly keep putting yourself in that situation and keep doing it. It has a very therapeutic effect on you, whether it is cleaning the house, cleaning the toilets, and going somewhere, volunteering, where you are not going to get any fame. People don't know who you are. You're just doing something for the sake of doing it, and it helps somebody, right? I think that helps a lot, and that's a constant process. So this goal of enlightenment, if it is to dissolve the ego, uh, my theory is that if you don't do anything, the ego keeps increasing every day. So कुछ भी नहीं किया तो every day you're just going to increase the ego. So कुछ ना कुछ करते रहना है, where deliberately you are saying, okay, this is nothing big, let's get onto it. There's no spotlights on you, nobody's going to recognize your work, and that's fine. Let me just do this. And as you keep doing it, I feel it, your heart just gets easier. The load on your shoulders gets a little lighter with every service you do. And as about the things that happened or even continue to happen that are not very acceptable, I think one has to accept that the people who are doing whatever they're doing in a state of their level of maturity. And if I could prevent it, I would have prevented it. But you can't prevent everything, right? You can't even control most of the things. You can't control. You can't prevent most of the things. So at that point in time, if there is a possibility to change something by your actions, you try, and you do that in a calm or in as balanced manner as possible. But if the situation of the person is not receptive to anything, then you have to just accept that I can't do anything, and this is the way it is going to be. And there have been long-standing things that are still going on in my life, uh, which I do find they're wrong with the way people are responding. But I've also come to accept that that is the way it is. No amount of me, breaking my head on the wall is going to change that. So either I just leave the situation completely, that's an option, or if you're going to engage with the situation, then you have to accept that this is the way it is, and you try to do the best in that situation with your efforts. I think that's the only way to go forward.
Enlightenment as a word has always been so wieldy, and the beauty is that you started with demystifying it, and every answer kind of gives a practical, uh, hands-on approach to trying and becoming a better version of me rather than realizing some far-fetched understanding of what enlightenment is supposed to be. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about a lot of small things that got covered, including some examples that one can relate to very easily. Uh, I think a lot of these thoughts require some deeper pondering and staying with, so that one can engage with these ideas and adapt and adopt whatever one can. Thank you so much, Uday. It was wonderful speaking to you, like always.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you.